Previously on Balls.
Bollocks. Utter bollocks. We've discussed Bafana. We've picked out your charity bets. We've discussed the disappearing killer Mpela. We've discussed the lonely but not on loan Leotlanola Majoro. It's chaos in this transfer window. Clubs announcing transfers that don't happen. Rob Shepherd from the Daily Mail. Are you there?
I am. I was a bit early in the morning for that kind of music. A bit more Jewish for me. It's a bit too heavy, that one.
I'll blame
Morning, boys.
Comfort Kisser, my producer. Good morning, Robert. I know it's 2 hours earlier in England and it's very cold and it's dark and probably wet.
That's 3 o'clock in the morning sound, that is. Come on.
Mate.
Come on.
Mate, I'm sitting in the Balls Radio studios looking out at bright sunshine, about 32 degrees, midsummer. You're looking at midwinter and you're looking at, I think, at the crucial time in English football at the moment. A very tight relegation race. We've just been talking about putting some money on Sunderland to beat Southampton on Saturday, because that might move Sunderland way out of the relegation zone and up to about 15th if they're lucky. How do you feel about the relegation position as a West Ham fan, Rob, with West Ham just hovering above Cardiff on goal difference?
If you look at the table, there are 6 points separating the team that's 10th and the team that's bottom. And it is any one from 10 or 11 indeed that could go down. Sunderland have been revived. Poyet has really sort of got in there and revived the spirit after the farce of Di Canio. As a West Ham, I'm a West Ham fan, I'll admit that. I think they'll just scramble over the line. I actually think that you might see Fulham, Norwich, and Cardiff. They're my 3 clips to go down. If you want to have a little bet on that, they're the ones to go down. The reasons, I think Fulham, they're a side, a poor team, new manager, not an inspirational new manager. And then Cardiff has too much off-the-pitch problems. And Norwich are one of those teams that very well overachieved last season and they're sort of in a reversed year now. So, it's a fascinating situation. I think this is probably the best ever season in the Premier League in terms of competition at the top. One of 4 or 5 teams can win it, and at the bottom, as I'm saying, one out of 11 can go down.
Yeah, exactly. 1 out of 11 to go down, 1 out of 5 to win it. And all the rest vying for those top 4 spots. Everton and Southampton. The surprise packages, Liverpool right up there. Man United have to recover to get to the top 4. It is a fascinating season. David Moyes, he is safe, isn't he, Rob? I keep telling people, look, Moyes out is just a joke hashtag on Twitter. They're not going to sack him after one season.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's certainly safe until the end of the season. They're not going to get rid of him until then. I'm a fan of David Moyes. I've seen what he did at Everton. People don't quite understand it. They say, "What has he ever won?" If Everton, to make Everton a top 8 club with the resources that he's had, to me that's a success. And it was always a good club taking over from Fergie. And let's be honest, it wasn't the best squad that was there. I've written this before in my column in the Mail, in Football Grapevine, but I will reiterate this. They thought they were going to get Cristiano Ronaldo last summer. That is why transfer activity was not as speedy or as people would have hoped. They were holding out for Ronaldo, and he didn't join. It's now been revealed. Ronaldo admitted when he won the Ballon d'Or this week, World Player of the Year. He was bombarded by calls, particularly from Rio Ferdinand, please come and join us. And it was an option. And it might still be an option in the summer.
Bloody hell. But what will that cost them, right?
Do not underestimate that.
What will it cost them?
Well, you see, the thing is, what it would cost them? Transfer fee, £80 million. Ridiculous salary, I don't know. Make up the numbers. £500,000 a week. But it would be a strategy with regard to marketing, all that kind of stuff that kind of goes above our heads. Football's not just about what happens on the pitch anymore, is it?
No, it's not.
American owners, South American penetration, marketing, brand, whatever you want to call it. That's where it's a possibility. I'm not saying he will, though, but they're going to have one last try in the summer. That's an exclusive today, and I'll reiterate it on Sunday.
Okay, so let's just get this right for our listeners who love Man United and are desperate about them getting into the top three, by April.
Well,
You're saying,
obviously, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, which will be the first time they haven't, and that puts a big hole in the coffers.
Absolutely.
It's a club with big resources.
Yeah. But you're saying the reason David Moyes has struggled at Man United this season is because he honestly thought Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be signed, during the last transfer window, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah,
and that they will now try again.
Absolutely. Part of their strategy last year, and it got very complicated because the Gareth Bale deal took so long to go through.
Yes.
And in the end, Ronaldo signed a new contract. But when people say, Ronaldo signed a 6-year contract, that means he's going to stay at Real Madrid for 6 years. It was just to get a pay rise,
Yeah, I find that.
I'm not saying he will go to Manchester United, but they will have one more try in the summer. And I think one of the reasons that they didn't sign more players last summer was because they thought that was going to happen.
Yes. Okay. There were stories about it at the time. There were rumours that were widely discounted, but figures were given, and then suddenly the Ronaldo thing doesn't happen. The Bale thing happened too slowly, and Man United end up with a substandard squad for the first 6 months of David Moyes' tenure. Is that right?
Well, they did really, and also last season. I mean, it was probably, I know it sounds ridiculous because they won the title, but it was probably, of all the titles won under Ferguson, it was probably the worst team that won it last season. And there's a guy called Robin Van Persie in the first half of the season. Carried them through games, won games, by the goal here, the goal there. And they haven't had that wow factor this season. He's been sort of intermittent, he's been injured. You look at their midfield, it's fairly ordinary. The back, the two central defenders are getting older. It's not a special team. And the other teams have got better. Manchester City have got stronger. Arsenal have got stronger. Chelsea, all right, same squad, but they've got their man back. They've got their manager back, haven't they?
Yeah, it's helped them a lot.
Everton are stronger. So it's do you know what? I actually genuinely think this is the best Premier League season that's been since it was formed in 1992.
Remember that? Yeah.
Some people will say, there's certain teams getting better, so that means the standard's gone up. So I think more or less any team in the Premier League now can beat any other. The World Team of the Year, there was not one English player, well, not one Premier League player, I should say, chosen, mainly from La Liga and Bundesliga. Okay?
Yep.
Yes, technically some of the best players are there. Overall, the best league in the world is the Premier League.
Yeah, technically you could put the Bundesliga at 1 and Spain at 2. But in terms of competition, in terms of excitement, enthusiasm, and the ability of any club to shock another club, we still stick with the EPL, yeah, or the Barclays League.
Absolutely. I mean, you get it from time. You get it from time to time in Spain. But look, who wins the league in Spain? Barcelona or Real Madrid? I'm not saying we haven't had that scenario in English football, but it's much more open and much more exciting from top to bottom. And yeah.
But then I've got to ask you.
You're all transfixed over there, aren't you?
Sorry? I missed that. What was that?
I said you're all transfixed over there. You're all transfixed with the Premier League over there.
Absolutely, mate.
Wherever you go in the world, I'm going to Spain next week. You walk into a bar in Spain, you've got games on all the time. And people like watching English football, even for its foibles, some of its mistakes, its erraticism, its craziness, but it's a little bit more. I'm beating the drum, really. I don't know why, but I do love it. I do love English football.
Yeah, I know. I suppose
they might win the World Cup, Neil.
It does help. But you've seen some of the stick I get on Twitter from some of the Spanish Africans, like a lad called Clint Roper, who believes that Spain. He's in Barcelona at the moment, actually, from Soccer Laduma, our big website here. He's saying that Spanish football is massively superior to English football, much more competitive and all that. And we argue all the time. But Rob, I can't let all this go without saying to you, surely, who will win the title this season? I can't see beyond Manchester City.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you, but when I say something at the start of the season, I stick to it. Okay, so I said Chelsea would win it at the start of the season, so I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
But I think you might beat me. I think you might beat me. Manchester City look awesome, but I think it's between those two.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm an Arsenal fan. You're a West Ham fan, so you haven't put West Ham in the relegation zone.
Well, I have to say, what is a bit bizarre, Neil, I really want Wenger to go out and just buy one striker now, within the next 2 weeks. Just to sort of take them over the line, maybe then take them to 30 minutes. Berbatov, I think, is available, and they certainly have been in conversation. Just someone that might conjure up a couple of goals. They're still top of the league. If you're top of the league genuinely, do you not think you might win it? I'd love Arsenal to win it, and it would be great because they've run that club so well.
Yeah.
They haven't got ridiculous overseas resources. It's been managed prudently. And they play wonderful football. And also, of course, they come from London, and I'm a bit biased because I've always liked London teams. I'm a bit old-fashioned now. When I was a kid, I was a West Ham fan, but West Ham didn't play in Europe or whatever, so one probably prefer to see the other London teams. But that sort of trend has changed. Come on, London.
Come on, London. Let's hear it, Rob. West Ham to stay up, Arsenal to win the title. We're showing our biases there. Rob, thanks a million. Keep us up to date. I've put it out as an exclusive on Twitter.
I hope the police didn't want to. Absolutely. Okay.
Absolutely, Robbie. Lovely to speak to you, mate. Look after yourself. Hope it gets warmer. Rob.
There's a bit of feedback there. Okay, mate, take care.
Great stuff. Rob Shepherd, the Daily Mail's grapevine columnist and a great footballer in his day, I thought. Best journalist footballer I came across. Used to be on West Ham's books, still a West Ham fan.
Visual Radio. Radio like you've never seen it before. Balls.co.za